Okay, so after I cut the video, I'm straight back again. I decided not to try and open Sublime Text before I started recording, since I wanted to be able to see what kind of damage was done by that attempt to delete the test directory. But it seems like we're still okay. Still got this little... normally there's that dot that says you haven't saved. That's weird, it seems to be flashing back and forth. I'm just going to hit save. Oh, that's interesting. Unable to save. Can't find the path specified. That's not such a good sign. Oh, so there's no directory called test as far as this is concerned. So basically, I guess what does it think this is? Test/test.js. Oh yeah, of course. But there's the test.js. Okay, so this is a file that doesn't exist. I'll just close it. Because I already have a copy there, and it was just stuff copied off the market page anyway. Alrighty, so first thing I'll do is, I guess I'll just comment that out, and I'll fix this other test. So the extract test, text test. Oh, now can I assert something for subsequent calls? So here's what I'm actually expecting. I'm expecting that, and then this text will just be extracted in a second call. So, let's comment that out for now. So that should pass, but that will just get the callback once and the first piece of text, and it won't get the second piece. So let's node command prompt again, and to change it to that project. I really should take some time to learn more about the Windows command line while I'm since I'm messing around with this so much. Documents. There we go. But I think you've got to install extra stuff to get a decent amount of controls. You can install Cygwin to get a Unix-like command line, but it's really flaky, so I don't feel very comfortable using it. Anyway, enough griping about that. So what I'm trying to do is run npm test. It should run my mocker tests. And so that's interesting. Was it expecting to get that multiple times? Just using the latest one. What is going on there? I need to do a bit of reading to figure out what that means. So that seems to be calling with the second thing. Where was I? Browser. Takes multiple calls to done. That's nice. So let's see if it's got anything in the async code. Error. So here's another option. Instead of using done, you can return a promise. analysis. So, I'm not sure whether it's worth my while taking the time to learn them for these tests. Probably worth learning them eventually. Let's see, pending tests. Test duration. String diffs. That's fine, yep. I'm going to try another Google search. So, Mocha. Session counting. Doesn't look like quite what I want. Callback on it. Let me just have another look through here. Could be something. Assertions. Maybe something in assertions. Maybe that's what I should be looking at. That's what I should be searching for. Use nodes assert or constant callback. That's actually probably not going to do it because just jump into the assert documentation. It doesn't look like there's anything in assert, so maybe I will need to use one of these others. Let's have a look. Should. It's made by TJ, so it's probably good. Let's just to elaborate. As well as continuing to. So, yeah, TJ's written a whole bunch of good stuff. So, usually if I see stuff that's made by TJ, I think it's probably decent quality, and documentation's usually pretty decent as well. See that. Fair enough. Jump into there and see what we've got in the README. Have we got stuff with cakebacks? 5 should be exactly 5 and be a number. Not any. So we chain assertions together. This is all about just testing the values and types of things. So one approach I could take in this test is to capture each of the callback values, and then once they've been called, so once I've collected all of them, then compare the result. Really, ideally, I would want to just have it expect 2 calls to the callback. Match each throw. It's not like should really does what I want. And the problem is it's probably not even going to have the ability to, once I get into this little context here, I don't think that there's even enough information in that context to know whether it should be called twice. Can I say that done should be called twice? Done. Callback. So you can give it an error. There's people complaining about the callback being called twice. What's that one about? Let's see what. I've really got to get this mouse sorted out. It's got some kind of issue where when I scroll the scroll wheel, it keeps scrolling after I've stopped, which is really not fun. So, okay. Oh, that's something that I could do. Maybe. Just a simpler thing to do is detect how many times it's been called. So in here, calls equals 0, so it hasn't called it at all. And then when I get the callback, calls plus, increment calls, and then I'll only call done when we've had it called twice. Much simpler. I guess here. So if we're doing double equals, triple equals. Double equals is not good in JavaScript. So that's what I expect first. Oh, that's text. I want to keep that. Okay. some visibility if I get unexpected behavior. So I'm hopeful that will work. Calling callback twice. And then calling done afterwards. Can't wait for it to get called a third time because it'll never call it a third time if it's doing the right thing, and then just sit there and hang forever unless I had some kind of timeout on the test. Okay, do I have a working test? Fingers crossed. It's passing. That's nice. And just to make sure that it is actually testing it, let's say that if I change this, make sure that it does actually fail. Yes. Good. Okay, that's my first working test. Now, this is testing something sort of slightly more complicated. I like to often just start with a simpler test, so that can fail first, and then have a more complicated test later that puts things together. So for this one, I might just have just the heading, and then expect it to extract that. In this case, I don't need all this complicated call logic. I could really take all that call logic out, the other test as well, and just put it in my own separate little helper, which basically could eventually become a utility library of some kind. And maybe I'll do that actually quite soon, rather than later, rather than leaving, because this is a little bit complicated, a bit hard to read. I could definitely make that better. So now I've got a simple test, just testing the simple case of, we've got some text, actually the even simpler case. And I'll have to give these different descriptions, otherwise it'll be hard to distinguish between them. Really, it should call the callback with just text is given. So in this case, I'll have some simple text. How boring. That should just return the exact same text that was in there. And this one, which if I run that, expect that to pass. They should all pass. I don't think I put anything. Go to passing, one failing. Timeout exceeded. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, interesting. That's actually it's looking for all the top level elements and getting the text out of them. But maybe this isn't counted as having any top level elements. Well, I could go and try and update my library so that it behaves this way. The other possibility is, for now, that I could just say, well, let's not call that expected behavior, because I haven't really thought too much about what the expected behavior is. So fix me, I'll expect it to do, fix me to do it pretty similar, but to do is something you might want to do, in my mind anyway, and fix me something that really you shouldn't be releasing code with fix me's in it, particularly, publishing. So, my tiredness and the fact that it's Sunday is showing in my voice, I'm sure. Probably being boring. But anyway, to do, I really want to just decide whether this should work or only accept name these more specifically. So text inside a single tag. This one I should call it text inside multiple tags. And I'll actually make another version of this one. So already I've got some repetition here of this logic, so of the call number logic. So I definitely want to extract that. So I'm going to get rid of this span from here. So this is testing a simpler case. So I should call the callback with text inside multiple tags. Or a multiple tags, that doesn't make sense. Inside multiple tags. Let's say nested tags. There we go. Multiple nested tags, and I'll make one that's not multiple nested tags, which is basically nested tags would just be, for example, this. We can join those strings, it won't be too long. Probably the same here. So multiple tags, nested tags, and multiple nested tags. Let's say so amazed, and add an extra bit of nesting here. Let's use the old B tag, just for fun. Okay, so that should be so amazed. Now that should have those multiple callbacks. This one should just have one callback. So get rid of calls. Get rid of that. And that. I should be running each of these after I write them. But I'm just getting a little bit lazy and rushed here. Being on video doesn't help, sort of adds an extra bit of incentive not to be slow and boring, and also not to do anything stupid, which could be a bad thing. So extract text should call the callback with the text inside multiple nested tags. Oh, multiple nested tags. I was so amazed. It's just a typo on my part. There. Okay. So it looks like those are all passing. That's great. That's too many calls there. Alright, now what I want to do is, don't need it there either. How messy. So that's fine. Okay, so we've got the cases I would expect. So a single top level tag, multiple top level tags. Inside each of multiple tags. Each top level tag should have the callback called. And it's the same wording there. If all the others work, I'd expect this to work, so it's sort of not really a necessary test, but the only harm in an extra test is that it's extra code to maintain. So now what I want is a way to abstract out this do is something along the lines of, say, that I expect I won't be able to give it each of my say like call with text function, then another function. Maybe something a bit like that. Let's maybe call in order. With text as the argument. Maybe an array of functions. Method chaining is fine. I don't need it here. Because then I can just put text in each of those. And this may be slightly overcomplicating it, but it's not that complicated. And then this one would be, I mean, a lot of it's just the function syntax of JavaScript is a little bit heavyweight. It'd be nice if I was using ES6 and I could just say text to insert equal. Done. That would be a little nicer. That syntax is coming in ES6, but I'm not using. Not available yet, and if I wanted to use ES6, I'd have to be transpiling my code. So instead, I have to use the slightly more heavyweight syntax of that. Is that any more readable? So maybe if I say call in order returns a function, I don't have to put those in an array actually. If I put those just as arguments, that would be fine. So yeah, let's make it without an array. And then I don't actually need to wrap it in a function at all. So this is a callback that when it's called, I want it to call each of the given functions in it's called. So something like this probably exists somewhere and I just don't know about it, but it's okay. I'll just let's define it down here for now. Use this syntax so it gets hoisted. Now, in ES6 I'd be able to say callbacks dot and that would basically give me an array containing the callbacks, but I can't do that again without ES6. So arguments aren't actually a true array. And so you can't exactly use them as an array. They are if you use REST arguments like in available in ES6, but local variable, available functions. So it's a local variable. That's fine. It's not an array. Similar to an array, doesn't have array properties like length. Here we go. Here I can convert it into a real array. If array generics are available, we can use the following instead. I don't know if array generics are available. JavaScript 1.6 introduced generic shorthand. And it's not available yet. Anyway, that looks good. Just grab that little snippet of code. And pop back into here. Just put that into something documentation-y. And callback. We'll call each of the getter functions. Each time it is called. This is called. And putting all callback arguments. So there's two things I need to do. I need to call them and I need to make sure that they get the arguments that passed in. So args, well that's really callbacks. So I could do some error checking, make sure that they are actually functions. Or I could just let them explode when someone tries to treat them as functions and they're not. Just realised this video is getting a bit long, but that's okay. I'll press on with this, will I? No, let's split it up again. So I'll just end this video here and then make another one to finish off adding this and refactoring the tests. So check back in a moment.